Upon landing hard, the pilot got on the PA system. "Sorry, folks, for the hard landing. It wasn't my fault. Blame it on the asphalt." On this particular flight, the airline pilot noted that he had hammered the plane a little hard on the runway. The airline policy was that he had to stand at the exit and apologize to each passenger getting off the plane, saying, "Thank you for flying XYZ Airlines, and sorry for the rough landing." All the passengers had gotten off the plane, except for one little old lady walking with a cane and wearing a hearing aid. She proceeded to walk up to the pilot and said, "Do you mind if I ask a question?" He said, "Why no, ma'am, go ahead." She then replied, "I didn't hear the announcement. Did we land or were we shot down? Or—" A plane takes off with a 2-hour delay. Once in the air, a passenger asks the flight attendant, "Why did we take off so late?" To which the flight attendant replies, "Well, the pilot noticed some smoke and weird noises coming from the left engine, and it took us a while to find another pilot willing to fly this plane." A gentleman strolling alongside a canal observed an old man and his son fishing. A moment later, a splash was heard. The boy had fallen into the water. The old man, however, jumped in after the lad and succeeded in getting him safely to the bank. There he stood the victim on his head to let the water drain out, and it was at this moment that the gentleman arrived on the scene, with profuse expressions of admiration for the prompt rescue. "It was noble of you," the gentleman declared rather rhetorically, "to plunge into the water in that way, at the risk of your life to save the boy. I congratulate you on your brave display of heroic magnanimity." The old man answered with an amiable grin, "All right, sir. I don't know anything about magnanimity, but I just had to get the boy out of the water. He had the bait in his pocket." A guy was walking along the street when he saw a crowd of people running towards him. He stopped one of the runners and asked, "What's happening?" The runner replied breathlessly, "A lion has escaped from the zoo." "Oh my, which way is it heading?" "Well, you don't think we are chasing it, do you?" On a recent flight I was on, this elderly woman kept peering out the window. Since it was totally dark, all she could see was the blinking wingtip light. Finally, she rang for the flight attendant. "I'm sorry to bother you," she said, "but I think you should inform the pilot that his left turn indicator is on, and has been for some time." Little Johnny, 3 years old, asks his mom, "When I grow up, will I have 2 things like Daddy?" Mom replies, "Daddy doesn't have 2 things." Johnny insists, "Sure he does. He has the little soft one he uses to pee, and the big hard one he uses to brush the babysitter's teeth." A man is walking through the supermarket, holding a basket and looking a bit lost. He notices a very attractive, beautiful, and fit young woman nearby. He walks up to her with a friendly smile. "Excuse me, could you walk with me for a couple of minutes?" The woman looks confused and asks, "Why?" He replies, "I've lost my wife, and every time I talk to a pretty woman, she magically appears out of nowhere." The woman chuckles and says, "That's oddly specific." He points behind her and says, "See, told you. There she is." The nurse told the parents of a newly born child, "You have a cute baby." The smiling husband said, "I bet you say that to all new parents." "No," she replied, "just to those whose babies really are good-looking." The husband again asked, "So what do you say to the others?" The nurse replied, "The baby looks just like you." Ever since 2nd grade, John had auditioned for every school play, but he never got a part, until now. Bursting through the front door, he shouted, "Dad, I finally got a role!" His father, excited for him, asked, "That's great, son. Who do you play?" John beamed and said, "I'm playing a man who's been married for 20 years and has 3 kids." His dad patted him on the back and said, "Oh, I'm sorry, son. Maybe next time you'll get a speaking part." A clever lawyer sold his well to an old man. 2 days later, the lawyer showed up and said, "Sir, I sold you the well, but not the water inside. If you want to use the water, you'll need to pay extra." The old man simply smiled and replied, "Ah, yes, I was just about to come see you. I was going to say, you should come and collect your water from my well, or start paying rent from tomorrow." A young boy and his dad went out fishing one fine morning. After a few quiet hours out in the boat, the boy became curious about the world around him. He looked up at his dad and asked, "How do fish breathe underwater?" His dad thought about it for a moment, then replied, "I really don't know, son." The boy sat quietly for a moment, then turned back to his dad and asked, "How does our boat float on the water?" Once again, his dad replied, "Don't know, son." Pondering his thoughts again, a short while later the boy asked, "Why is the sky blue?" Again, his dad replied, "Don't know, son." The inquisitive boy, worried he was annoying his father, asks this time, "Dad, do you mind that I'm asking you all of these questions?" "Of course not, son," replied his dad. "How else are you ever going to learn anything?" A new doctor moved into town 4 months ago. I'm a doctor too, so I started getting nervous when some of my regulars stopped booking appointments. Then the record requests started rolling in. One by one, my patients were switching over. After a few months, I'd lost 37% of my appointments. Fed up, I called the new guy's office to confront him. And while I sat on hold, I heard their smug little message. "Thank you for your patience." I've never been roasted so politely in my life. At her 80-year-old checkup, Mrs. Smith's new doctor was reviewing her medications and stopped dead in his tracks when he saw her prescription for birth control pills. "Mrs. Smith," he said, eyes wide, "you do realize these are birth control pills?" "Oh, yes, doctor," she replied with a smile. "They really help me sleep at night." The young doctor was confused. "Mrs. Smith, there's nothing in those pills that would help you sleep." She patted his knee. "Oh dear, I understand, but trust me, they definitely help me sleep at night." She leaned in closer, lowered her voice, and added, "You see, every morning I grind one up and mix it into the glass of orange juice that my 16-year-old granddaughter drinks." One recent Sunday, a young boy arrived to his Sunday school class late. His teacher knew that the boy was usually very prompt and asked him if anything was wrong. The boy replied no, that he was going to go fishing, but that his dad told him that he needed to go to church instead. The teacher was very impressed and asked the boy if his father had explained to him why it was more important to go to church rather than to go fishing. To which the boy replied, "Yes, ma'am, he did. My dad said that he didn't have enough bait for both of us." As a man walked through the city, he was approached by a scruffy, disheveled bum who asked, "Sir, could you spare a couple of dollars for dinner?" The man took out his wallet, pulled out $2 and asked, "If I give you this money, will you spend it on whiskey?" "No, sir," the bum replied. "I gave up drinking years ago." "Will you use it to gamble?" "Absolutely not. Every penny I get goes towards surviving." "What about golf? Will you spend it on greens fees?" "Are you crazy?" the bum scoffed. "I haven't played golf in 20 years." The man nodded, then put the money back in his wallet. "I'm not going to give you $2, he said. "Instead, I'm taking you home for a great meal cooked by my wife." The bum's eyes widened. "That's really kind of you, but won't your wife be upset? I mean, I'm filthy, and I probably don't smell great." The man grinned. "Nah, it's fine. I just want her to see what a man looks like when he quits drinking, gambling, and golf." A man was in his front yard mowing grass when his attractive blonde neighbor came out of the house and went straight to the mailbox. She opened it, then slammed it shut and stormed back into the house. A little later, she came out of her house again, went to the mailbox, and again opened it and slammed it shut again. Angrily, back into the house she went. As the man was getting ready to edge the lawn, she came out again, marched to the mailbox, opened it, and then slammed it closed harder than ever. Puzzled by her actions, the man asked her, "Is something wrong?" To which she replied, "There certainly is. My stupid computer keeps saying, 'You've got mail.'" A young nun and a man were lost in the freezing woods for days. Starving and desperate, the nun said, "Please put your member inside me." The man, shocked and confused, asked, "Why, sister?" She looked at him seriously and whispered, "If we don't, we'll both freeze to death." Paddy and Murphy decide one fine sunny day to take their boat out and spend the afternoon fishing. For a time, all is well and the weather is calm. All of a sudden, Paddy and Murphy sail in an absolute unit of a storm, and water begins to pour into the boat. "Paddy, quick!" cries Murphy. "The boat is flooding." "Worry not, Murphy, I'll get the drill." "The drill? I'm drilling a hole to let the water out." Three handsome male dogs are walking down the street when they see a beautiful, enticing female poodle. The three male dogs fall all over themselves in an effort to be the one to reach her first, but end up arriving in front of her at the same time. The males are speechless before her beauty, slobbering on themselves and hoping for just a glance from her in return. Aware of her charms and her obvious effect on the three suitors, she decides to be kind and tells them, "The first one who can use the words liver and cheese together in an imaginative, intelligent sentence can go out with me." The sturdy, muscular black lab speaks up quickly and says, "I love liver and cheese." "Oh, how childish," said the poodle. "That shows no imagination or intelligence whatsoever." She turned to the tall, shiny golden retriever and said, "How well can you do?" I hate liver and cheese," blurts the golden retriever. My, said the poodle. "I guess it's hopeless. That's just as dumb as the lab's sentence." She then turns to the last of the three dogs and says, "How about you, little guy?" The last of the three, tiny in stature but big in form and finesse, is the Chihuahua. He gives her a smile, a sly wink, turns to the golden retriever and the lab and says, "Liver alone, cheese mine." Little Johnny was caught swearing by his teacher. "Johnny," she said, "you shouldn't use language like that. Where did you even hear those words?" "My dad said them," he replied. "Well, that doesn't make it okay," the teacher replied. "I bet you don't even know what it means." "Oh, yes, I do," little Johnny shot back. "It means the car won't start." One night, a blonde nun was praying in her room when God appeared before her. "My daughter," God said, "you have pleased me greatly. Your heart is full of love for others, and your actions and prayers are always selfless. I've come not only to commend you, but also to grant you any wish." The nun replied, "Dear Heavenly Father, I am perfectly happy. I lack nothing and feel content in all ways." "But surely there must be something you desire," God insisted. "Well, there is one thing," she admitted. "Estabisa." "Just name it," said God. "It's those blonde jokes," she said. "They're so demeaning to blondes everywhere, not just me. I would love for them to stop." "Consider it done," said God. "Blonde jokes shall be erased from human minds. But is there anything else I can do just for you?" "Well, there is one small thing." She hesitated, "but it's really not worth your time." "Please tell me," God urged. "It's the M&Ms." She sighed. "They're just so hard to peel." After a long time, the boy returned once more. "I'm sorry, boy," said the tree. "I have nothing left to give you. My apples are gone." "My teeth are too weak for apples," replied the boy. "My branches are gone," said the tree. "You can't swing on them anymore." "I'm too old to swing on branches," said the boy. "My trunk is gone," said the tree. "You can't climb me." "I'm too tired to climb," said the boy. The tree sighed. "I wish I had something more to give, but I have nothing left. I'm just an old stump. I'm so sorry. The boy smiled gently. I don't need much now, he said. Just a quiet place to sit and rest. I'm very tired. Well, said the tree, straightening up as much as she could, an old stump is perfect for sitting and resting. Come, boy, sit down and rest. So the boy did, and the tree was happy. A pastor's wife was expecting a baby, so he stood before the congregation and asked for a pay raise. After some discussion, they agreed on a rule. Every time the pastor's family grew, so would his salary. Over time, as the family grew to 6 children, the financial burden became significant. The congregation gathered once more to discuss the increasing costs. Voices were raised, debates ensued, and worries about future expenses were openly shared. After an hour of listening, the pastor finally rose from his chair and addressed them. Children are a gift from God, he declared, and we will welcome every gift he chooses to give us. The room fell silent. Then from the back pew, a little old lady struggled to her feet. In a quavering voice, she said, Rain is also a gift from God, but when we get too much, we put on raincoats. The congregation, in unison, responded, Amen. My neighbor. She's single, gorgeous, and lives right across the street. Tonight, I watched as she came home from work. To my surprise, she walked over, came up my driveway, and knocked on my door. I opened it, and there she was, looking at me with a mischievous smile. She said, I just got home, and I have this overwhelming urge to have a great time, get drunk, and really enjoy myself tonight. Are you doing anything? Without missing a beat, I replied, Nope. I'm free. Perfect, she said. Could you watch my dog? Two little old ladies were sitting on a park bench outside the local town hall, where a flower show was in full swing. The shorter one leaned over and said, Life is so dull. We never have any fun anymore. For just $10, I'd strip down and streak through that silly flower show. You're on, her friend replied, waving a $10 bill in the air. Without hesitation, the old lady fumbled him out of her clothes, snatched a dried rose from a nearby bush, and held it between her teeth. Then, completely naked, she took off at a speed only an old lady could muster and dashed through the flower show's front door. Her friend waited outside and soon heard a loud commotion coming from within, followed by cheers and whistles. Moments later, her beaming friend emerged from the exit, flanked by a jubilant crowd. What in the world just happened? Asked her friend wide-eyed. I won $100 for Best Dried Arrangement, she exclaimed, grinning from ear to ear. Student. Sir, can I ask you a question? Teacher. Of course, go ahead. Student. How do you put an elephant inside a fridge? Teacher. I'm not sure. Student. It's simple. Just open the fridge and put it in. I have another question. Teacher. All right, go ahead. Student. How do you put a donkey inside the fridge? Teacher. Well, you just open the fridge and put it in, right? Student. No, sir. You first need to take out the elephant, then put in the donkey. Teacher. Oh, I see. Student. Let me ask one more. If all the animals went to the lion's birthday party, which animal didn't make it? Teacher. The lion, of course. It'd be too busy eating the other animals. Student. Nope, it's the donkey. It's still in the fridge. Teacher. Are you kidding me? Student. No, sir. Just one last question. Teacher. All right, let's hear it. Student. If you had to cross a river full of crocodiles, how would you do it? Teacher. I'd have to find a boat, no doubt. Student. No, sir. You'd just swim across, since all the crocodiles are at the lion's birthday party. Teacher. All right, now I have a question for you. If every student came to school except one, who would that be? Student. I'm not sure, sir. Teacher. It's you, 'cause you're on 2 weeks suspension. A trucker walked into a truck stop cafe and sat down at the counter. When the waitress, Brand. I'm not blonde. Say sure to my band. Came over to take his order. He said, I'll have 3 flat tires, a pair of headlights, and a couple of running boards. Not wanting to seem clueless, she went back to the kitchen and called out to the cook. There's a guy out there who just ordered 3 fat tires, a pair of headlights, and a couple of running boards. Does he think he's at an auto shop or something? The cook chuckled and replied, No worries. 3 flat tires are 3 pancakes, headlights are 2 sunny side up eggs, and running boards are 2 strips of crispy bacon. Oh, got it, said the waitress, relieved. She thought for a second, grabbed a bowl of beans, and brought it over to the trucker. Looking confused, the trucker asked, What are the beans for? With a grin, she replied, Well, I figured while you wait for your tires, headlights, and running boards, you might as well gas up. One sunny afternoon, an aeroplane cleaner named Sam was tidying up the cockpit of a large passenger jet. As he dusted the controls, his eye caught a colorful book tucked away in the corner. The title read, How to Fly an Aeroplane for Beginners, Volume 1. Curious, Sam opened the book to the first page. It instructed, to start the engine, press the red button. Intrigued, he glanced around to ensure no one was watching and pressed the button. To his surprise, the engine roared to life, filling the cockpit with a thrilling sound. Sam's heart raced with excitement. Eager to learn more, he flipped to the next page, which read, To get the aeroplane moving, press the blue button. Without a second thought, he pressed the blue button, and the plane began to roll forward, gaining speed on the tarmac. The exhilaration coursing through him was unmatched. Feeling adventurous, Sam turned to the third page. It instructed, To let the aeroplane fly, please press the green button. He pressed the button, and to his amazement, the aircraft lifted off the ground, soaring into the sky. The world below became a tiny blur as he flew higher and higher, the thrill of flight filling him with joy. For 20 minutes, Sam reveled in the experience of being in the pilot's seat, the clouds drifting past him like cotton candy. But soon, he realized it was time to land. He flipped to the fourth page, hoping to find instructions for landing. To his dismay, the page read, To know how to land an aeroplane, please purchase Volume 2 at the nearest bookshop. Panic set in as he realized he was unprepared for this crucial step. Sam glanced out the window, the ground rushing towards him, and felt a wave of dread wash over him. With no time to waste, he thought quickly. He remembered the radio controls and frantically called for help. Fortunately, an experienced pilot on the ground heard his distress call and guided him safely back to land. Once on the ground, Sam breathed a sigh of relief, grateful for the timely assistance. He learned a valuable lesson that day. While curiosity and a willingness to try new things are admirable, some tasks require complete knowledge and preparation. Moral of the story: never attempt anything without complete information. Half education is not only dangerous, but can lead to disastrous consequences. Stay in your lane, stick to what you know, and you will excel.